I just signed my final budget as governor of California, on time, balanced, and structurally sound. Not just this year, but through June of 2028. For the next 2 years, California will have a $0 deficit. We're leaving the state in good hands for the next governor.
You know what? He's absolutely right. California has a $0 deficit, just like I have zero debt if I empty my savings account, pay this month's bills, and with my emergency fund, move next month's bills to next month and tell the bank we'll figure the rest out later. Problem solved, right? That's not financial responsibility. That's accounting gymnastics with a press conference attached to it. So let's take a look at how Sacramento magically turned a roughly $20 billion structural deficit into zero without actually fixing the problem.
From Seattle to Los Angeles, this is Left Coast News. No apologies, just the truth.
Governor Gavin Newsom recently announced that California has balanced its budget. According to the administration, the state is heading into the new fiscal year with essentially a $0 deficit. That sounds like great news, except it depends entirely on what you mean by balanced. Because when you dig into the numbers released by California's own nonpartisan legislative analysts office, you find something very different. California didn't eliminate its underlying financial problem. It temporarily covered it. And those are two very different things. Let's start with the numbers that matter most. The Legislative Analyst's Office estimates California continues to have roughly a $20 billion structural deficit. Now, structural deficit is one of those government terms that tends to make people's eyes glaze over. Here's what it actually means. Imagine your household earns $80,000 every year, but you've committed yourself to spending $100,000 every year. Even if you use savings to make the mortgage payment this month, your income still doesn't support your lifestyle. That's a structural deficit. California's recurring spending commitments exceed its recurring revenue by roughly $20 billion every single year. Unless something fundamentally changes, that gap comes back again and again and again. So how do you announce a balanced budget while still carrying a structural deficit? Welcome to government accounting. Let's walk through how Sacramento got there. Emptying the savings account. California spent years building one of the largest rainy day funds in the country during the tech boom. When tax collections exploded, lawmakers deposited billions into reserve accounts. Those reserves are exactly what they're intended for. The problem is that California isn't using them because of a once-in-a-century emergency. They're using them to cover recurring operating expenses. According to the budget documents, roughly $20 billion in reserve resources are being tapped, while required deposits into those reserves are also being suspended. Think about that for a second. If your checking account doesn't cover your monthly bills and you stop putting money into savings while simultaneously withdrawing from savings, your monthly budget may balance, but nothing about the underlying math improved. You've simply bought yourself time. Moving bills into next year. Government has a trick that most families don't. You can simply move some of today's bills into tomorrow's budget, and California did exactly that. One of the biggest examples involves Proposition 98, the constitutional formula that guarantees funding for K through 12 schools and community colleges. Schools are still legally entitled to the money. They're just not getting all of it during the original budget year. Those payments are deferred into the following fiscal year. From an accounting standpoint, the current year's deficits look smaller. From a cash flow standpoint, the obligation never disappears. It's the equivalent of paying your credit card next month instead of this month. The debt still exists. Limiting business tax credits. California also generated additional revenue by limiting the tax credits many businesses expected to claim. Now, technically, this isn't a tax increase. Businesses still owe what they owe. They're simply prevented from taking deductions they previously qualified for. For companies already dealing with California's high regulatory costs, higher labor expenses, rising insurance premiums, and elevated energy prices, that's more money staying with the government instead of remaining in private investment. Whether you support that policy or oppose it, it's important to understand what it actually is. It's a temporary revenue patch, not permanent economic growth. Healthcare financing changes. Another significant piece involved extending and modifying the state's managed care organization tax. Without getting buried in healthcare finance, here's the simplified version. California taxes managed care organizations. That tax structure then allows the state to qualify for larger federal Medicaid matching dollars. Done legally, it brings more federal money into Sacramento. Again, it helps balance the current budget, but it doesn't eliminate the structural spending imbalance that created the problem in the first place. The economy is slowing. There's another issue that deserves attention. California depends heavily on capital gains taxes and income taxes paid by high-income earners. High earners are leaving California because of Sacramento's policies, like many other blue states. When the stock market is booming, tax revenue pours into Sacramento. When IPOs slow down, venture capital dries up, or investment income falls, state revenue can drop dramatically. That's one reason why California's revenue swings are among the most volatile in the nation. Programs, however, don't shrink nearly as fast as revenue does. Government spending tends to become permanent. Revenue does not. That's exactly how structural deficits develop. Here's why this matters outside of California. States across the country are facing similar pressures. Washington, Oregon, Illinois, New York. Any of those states seem like have a similar leadership problem to you? Many governments expanded spending dramatically during years of unusually high revenue. Some used federal COVID relief money to launch programs that now require permanent state funding. But the federal money is gone. The temporary surpluses are gone. The obligations, they remain. California is simply one of the largest examples. So, did Governor Newsom technically deliver a balanced budget? Yes. California's Constitution requires one. Legally speaking, the books balance. But if you're asking whether California solved its long-term spending problem, well, the answer appears to be no. Independent analysts continue warning that the underlying structural deficit remains. Reserve funds have been reduced. Future obligations have been shifted forward. Temporary revenue measures have filled the gap. And unless either recurring revenue increases substantially or recurring spending decreases, the same conversation comes back next year because budgets don't care about press conferences. Eventually, arithmetic wins. Are you tired of this yet? Are you tired of these politicians lying about everything to your face? Acting like you're too stupid to figure this out? Too dumb to know what's really going on? It's not just the Democrats. The Republicans do this as well. It's all politicians. They're a bunch of dirtbags. When are we going to say enough is enough of this garbage? You know, this isn't the only state this is happening in. This is going on everywhere. All these blue states especially have huge budget deficits. Blue cities, blue counties. This is your hard-earned tax money that's being flushed down the toilet day after day, month after month, year after year. When do we say enough? If you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person we built this channel for. Left Coast News exists to cut through the noise and bring you straightforward analysis of the stories shaping Washington, the Pacific Northwest, and beyond. If you found this video valuable, please subscribe and follow us wherever you get your content, including YouTube, Rumble, Brighteon, BitChute, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you'd like to help support independent journalism, you can also join us on Patreon. Patreon is free for now. You'll find the link in the description below. And if you think this story matters, share it with your friends and family. That's one of the biggest ways you can help this channel grow. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you agree with this analysis, or do you see it differently? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching Left Coast News.